Hey everyone, Tara LaMagna here. Today we are going to talk about the probably number one topic amongst all leaders, which is how do we motivate our teams? So I'm going to take a deep dive into this and we're going to talk about where we spend our energy, where we should be focusing our energy, and also how to motivate our teams. So I want you to think before we dive in about who you spend the most time talking to, and maybe you want to pause the training for a moment and write it down. Who do you on your team spend the most time talking to? So make a list of those people, whether you're, maybe communicating via email, text, voice message, whatever the case may be, but make a list of those people who you communicate with the most often. All right. And after you make that list, I want you to look at who those people are. Are they new consultants? Are they business builders? Is it a side gig for them? Are they just doing this for the discount? I want you to make those notes as well. And then once you've done that, you can unpause this and dive back in. All right. Because we're going to use that later. Okay. So let's talk about the basics of motivating your team. Actually, motivating your team is just a trick. It's not something that we can actually do. We can't motivate anyone. They choose to motivate themselves. And so this whole training is probably not going to be what you think it is, but it's going to be helpful and it is going to help you focus your energy on those people that you should be focusing on. And it's going to help you see results on your team. And that's what we want, right? So the basics. First things first, when you interview your potential recruits, you will get to know a lot about them. You will get to know if they, have a support system. You'll get to find out if they're doing this, for as a side gig, as a full-time business. You will get to know their why a little bit, right? And that is great information to have, especially when we're trying to help motivate someone to do work, right? It's also a great question to ask is what motivates you, right? That's a great question when you're interviewing potential recruits. All right. And then beyond that, inspiring them through your actions. If as a leader, you are doing all the things to have a successful business, you are getting new customers, you are hosting, you're getting hosts to book parties with you, you're getting new team members. If you are doing all of the things and you're sharing that with your team, maybe through trainings or maybe a quick post, like I did a great party today. Here's something I learned. If you are taking the actions yourself and sharing that you are taking those actions with your team, that is inspiring to them. That is motivating to them because what you do, they will follow, right? They'll repeat that. Create community and stay connected. This is one of the most important pieces to motivating your team. It's kind of like if you've ever joined a gym, right? If you've ever joined a gym, you walk in and you don't know anybody. It's really hard the first few weeks, few months to stay motivated and continue to go each day when you don't have anybody to like chat with while you're there or to connect with or look forward to seeing. That's why oftentimes gyms will offer like a buddy discount, like bring a buddy, join the gym and bring a buddy and we'll give you a discount because they know that if you have a community or you're connected with someone, and I just realized I spelled that wrong on the slide. That's really going to bug me. It's fine, Tara. If you're connected to the community, you're more likely to show up because people are expecting you to show up. So when you create a community within your team, and this happens mostly on team pages, but also at in-person events that you do together, conference, things like that, that is huge because people will expect your team members to be there and show up. And so they'll also reach out to them and say, hey, where have you been? Or what have you been doing with your business? Did you take a step back or what's going on? Right. And that is a huge piece of keeping people motivated. They need to feel that sense of community. and feel like they are connected to the team. The next one, recognize what you want repeated. This is an easy way to get people motivated. This is why I do my weekly banner every week and I share tops in sales. And for the month, I do tops in sales, tops in recruiting. I highlight what I want repeated. And people love to get their name on the banner, right? So this is huge, to recognize what you want repeated. And the ways that we can recognize, guys, we could do this in our team page. We could do this on other people's timelines, on their specific, the consultant's timeline. I do suggest asking permission before you do that, just because some people don't like you to do shout outs on their timeline, but always ask first. But if you recognize publicly those things that you want repeated, others will see that and they'll want the recognition. So they will do that as well, right? Set expectations and challenge them. I love a good challenge. You guys know me. I love a good challenge. I love to issue a challenge for the entire org. I do challenges for my core team. And sometimes I do challenges for one-on-one when I'm coaching. If I'm coaching a team member and I'm saying, okay, this is your challenge. Your challenge, if it's maybe a new team member, your challenge is to go live this week and unbox your kit. That's what I'm challenging you to do. That is huge. Also, a sense of accountability is tied into that as well, because when you challenge them, they know you're going to follow back up. Or like for a team challenge, excuse me, for a team challenge, you could post it in your team page. And the accountability portion of that is that they get to come back and drop in the comments what they're doing. And everybody else is seeing that, right? It also builds excitement when you do that. So yes, all of that. Set the, I really should have brought a water. It's fine. Excuse me. So set those expectations and challenge your team. All of these things will help with motivating your team. Now, the last one is the one I put it last for a reason, because that's the one we're really going to focus most on today, which is focus on the 20%. We all have the same amount of energy, for the most part, energy / time. We have energy inside of us that we get to spend however we want every day. Sometimes for me, that day might look like a lot of energy spent on a new recruit, right? Or a lot of energy spent on a specific issue that's happening. And I want you to think about how you spend your energy and the return on investment for that energy spent, right? So it's not only time, it is energy, but energy and time are like kind of hand in hand, because the more time you spend on something, usually the more energy you're spending on that thing, right? So do a little audit of your day. How are you spending your time / energy? If you're spending a ton of time doing like motivational videos in your team page and trying to, or sharing motivational videos and just focusing hardcore on trying to get everybody motivated and everybody working, what is the return on investment that you're seeing for that? How is your team responding? Is it changing what they're doing? Is it changing their actions at all? Is it motivating them to take action in their business? I ask this because I cannot tell you guys how important it is to focus your energy on the 20%. So who is the 20%? That's the next slide. So who to focus your energy on? Let's look at the left side, the blue little note here. You are going to break your team up into A, B, and C groups, okay? The A group consists of new consultants, strong business builders, emerging leaders, and your direct leaders, okay? So that's 4 groups of people there. The B group, this is your part-time consultants, those that do this as a side gig. And the C group is your discount consultants. So you can even go to your back office. You can print out a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of your entire team. And if you like to do it the old-fashioned way, you can highlight right? Pick 3 different highlighters and highlight the people on your team according to these categories, right? A, B, C. You could also do it digitally. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but take the time to break your team into these 3 groups, A, B, and C groups. Now, here's the time when you can pause the video and do that, but also check those notes you made at the beginning of this training where you made that list of who you are spending your most time on, or who you spending the most energy on, right? And I want you to see how those people fit into these categories. Maybe you're spending a lot of time on someone who is a discount consultant. There you go. Now you can reallocate that time and energy and focus it on the A group or the B group. And these are the people, the A group and the B group, mostly the A group, a little bit of the B group. Those are the people who you want to focus your time and energy on. Those are the people that you are most likely to motivate. The C people, the discount people, they probably won't ever be motivated by you, no matter how many videos you share, no matter how many trainings you do for them. You cannot want it more than they do. If they do not want to work the business, this goes back to that first interview, right? Before they even join, you should know, are they going to be A, B, or C group? You're going to get that idea, because if they don't want to work this business as a full-time thing, or even if it's a side gig for them, I hesitate in saying that the B group is just part-time consultants, because sometimes people who have a day job do lemongrass on the side, and it's more than just a part-time thing for them. Someone like that would be in my A group. But that being said, you can identify these people early and put them in one of these groups. They can move between groups. Sometimes we know people join for discount and then it ends up that they really love it and they're crushing it. So they might move to a B or an A, right? But know that you should be focusing your time and energy on those people who actually want to be successful in this business, and who not only want to be successful, but are willing to step up and do it. We can't motivate everybody. We won't. And especially, we will not motivate those people who don't want to do this. And that's okay. But when you focus your time and energy on the A and B groups, you are going to see a high ROI, a higher return on investment for your time and energy. And that is what we want. 20% of your team are going to be the people who bring in the most sales and most recruits. You can do the math. When you print out your Excel spreadsheet, do the math. How many people do the majority of the sales on your team? You can sort the spreadsheet from highest sales to lowest sales. Not that it's all about the sales. It's not, but this is an easy way to see it. Highest sales to lowest sales. Count the number of people who are like your top, chunk. Maybe they're doing between 750 and up in sales. Count those people, and then count the number of people on your team. If you calculate it out, I'm telling you, you're going to see 20% of your team is the majority of your sales. Okay. That's where we want to focus on. And for the A group, new consultants always, sometimes those new consultants drop down to B group, sometimes they drop down to C group, and that's okay. But always they start out in the A group, unless they've very specifically said to you, nope, this is just discount for me. But still, they're going to need some training. So you're going to focus more time and energy on them. The strong business builders, these people will not need as much of your time, but they're going to need more time than the B or C. Emerging leaders, these are where you want to focus most of your time, right? Emerging leaders, or even those that are becoming stronger business builders. But emerging leaders are the sweet spot, because those are those people who want to grow, who want leadership, who are showing you through their actions. Even if they're not telling you they want leadership, they're showing you through their actions that they are ready for leadership. Maybe they're sharing a lot on your team page. Maybe they're helping answer questions from other consultants. Maybe they're messaging you like, hey, did you see this post from corporate? Anything like that. Those are your emerging leaders. And that's where you want to focus your energy because they have a ton of potential. That's a great ROI. Emerging leaders, time and energy invested, big ROI on them. And then your direct leaders who are your A group, but you don't have to spend so much time on them because they know what they're doing, hopefully by this point. But you will talk to them more often, likely, than your part-time side gig consultants. So how often do you reach out to these people? And I'm talking reach outs like one-on-one via private message, via, maybe shoot them a voice text, or whatever the case may be. But this is one-on-one interaction. For your A group, I talk to my A group weekly or bi-weekly. B group bi-weekly, sometimes less, depending on how focused they are on the business. And then C group as needed or once a month, one-on-one. Okay. So keep that in mind. Those are one-on-one reach outs. The last area I'm going to talk to you about today is communicating with your team as a whole. So this is not one-on-one, this is your team as a whole. And we're going to talk about daily, weekly, and monthly. What does that look like? Because communication is one of the key pieces to motivating your team and creating that sense of community and making them feel like they are part of something and having that accountability piece as well. Because when more you're communicating, they feel like you're talking to them, and this can help motivate your team without you spending a lot of time and energy on individual one-on-one interactions. Okay. So daily, and many of us do all of these things daily, post in your team page and share important information from corporate as needed. So that's simple. That's basic, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Weekly, shout outs on personal timelines and in the team page. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. And so I'm not going to dive into that, but shout outs weekly are huge and they help keep people motivated. Group chats. Group chats are great if they're not too big. You can have many group chats. You can have a group chat for your A group chat for your B group if you want, depending on how big your team is. Group chat for your leaders. But group chats are great because they give you that sense of community. The energy is great. Everybody's talking in there, chatting, sharing ideas. So group chats are really great. And you spend less time in a group chat because you're talking to many people at once versus one-on-one. So again, thinking about that energy spent in the ROI. The third thing, email or texting with important info weekly. For example, I send out a weekly newsletter to my core team with important information for the week. I send that out via email and I text it out because it's in a project broadcast landing page. Super simple, super easy. And they love it. They reply back to me and say, thank you so much. Most of them say that every single week, which is great. And then monthly team newsletter. Again, you can send that out via email, via text. Incentives and challenges. You don't have to do that, but I find that that has really helped my org as a whole throughout the years. I started doing incentives very early on. And although not everyone is motivated by incentives, there are a good chunk of people who are. So that is helpful for motivating your team. And then a monthly team training. Sometimes we do that like, sometimes it looks like a longer team training. Sometimes that looks like maybe I'm going to do a tip Tuesday and do a live each week, or maybe I'm just going to do a post each week. That counts as team training. So that could slide into the weekly category depending on how you do it, but some sort of training. And then a team meeting, again, optional, but just something else to add there that you may consider. So that's it. So the moral of the story, everyone, is that we can't motivate people who don't want to be motivated. All right. So I want you to focus on how you're spending your energy, who you're spending your energy on, and why you are doing that. And not only that, but what return on investment are you getting for that energy spent? Okay. Everything that you do, every action that you take for your business, think about that. What is the ROI of this, right? If I am focused solely and frustrated on the fact that so many of my team members are not motivated right now, they're not doing anything, stop focusing on that. Focus on the A group, focus on the B group. And if you don't have a big A or B group, guess what? Focus on team building. If you don't have people that want to be motivated, you're doing the things, maybe you just don't have anybody in the A group or the B group. Okay, that's all right. But your focus should be hardcore recruiting. I am team building. That is where my focus is. That is going to be where my return on investment comes from. Stop spending energy on those that don't want to be motivated. Okay. That's my tips for you. I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And let me end this somehow. Hold on. If you guys have any questions on this, though, seriously, let me know. But the communication is vital, and it's going to help you. And you now see my desktop. That's fine. Okay, stop share. Perfect. So that hopefully is going to help you. And I would love feedback on this training, and I would love to know, once you've implemented some of the things that I've shared, how that has changed your business. Keep in mind that when we implement something new, it is never going to be immediate. You don't eat healthy for a day and expect to lose, 15 pounds of fat the following day when you step on the scale. That's not what happens. It's being consistent, it's showing up, it's trying the thing. And then in like 30, 60 days after you've implemented something new, then figure out, make the decision. Did that work? Was it helpful? What was the ROI of that? All right. Thanks guys for tuning in, and I'll chat with you later. Bye.